Welcome to Bitstorm, a comedy game design podcast by two guys who know nothing about comedy nor game design. I'm Ben Slinger, and with me, as always, is Trevor Scott.
Hello.
I've said that a lot of times, that opening.
Yes, I know. It kind of rolls off the tongue most of the time.
Yeah, I tend not to mix it up. I've been trying to change up my pitch and cadence a little bit. But,
what are we doing tonight?
Over 300 episodes. I think let's just jump into some good old classic click pitch.
I haven't done that for a while.
Yeah, it's been a little while. We've been doing movies and stuff, but...
And last week we didn't do any, game design.
Right, of course, yeah. Just doing some reviews. So, yeah, this is, I think, ramped up click pitch, where we each have a random phrase generator in front of us, and on the count of 3 to 1 click, we're each going to get an adjective and a noun, and we're going to say them out loud, smash them together, magic up some game designs, and then throw them away and do it again.
Yeah, sounds good. 3, 2, 1 click.
Ended motor.
Preserving fond.
Okay. So my mind, it straight away went to someone in the future, digging up an old car.
Oh, yes.
Doing archaeology on, the current day. The current day is their past, and they're finding these artifacts. And so maybe it's not just cars, maybe that's just the jumping off point. But I just really like the idea of coming up with these contraptions, you're building new things. It's like scientists of the future trying to figure out how things went together, but of course it's all completely wrong.
Because all their current stuff is super far in advance. They don't.
Oh,
combustion?
It's all nanotech, whatever. They don't have to understand how anything fits together because it's all just done for them by super intelligent slave robots.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. I like the idea that, you play this one scientist who's, was digging in his backyard and he found this old, Ford engine sort of thing, or this old sort of car, and he's trying to put it together in his spare time.
Yeah, well, I think you keep expanding the dig out. You've come across a cache of, it's the remains of fucking Melbourne or something. It's actually some massive city it's been built on top of.
You got floppy disks, you got a DVD drive, and they're like, what's this? What's this optical media? Oh, that's...
Which would you say? Yeah, somehow it's because you've got all these nanotech tools as well, right? So it might make sense that you're finding these fossils of them, but then you can recreate.
Yeah.
You analyze them and find, here's what it's actually made of. We can generate that and recreate it, and then you've got these things, and you're putting them together into some sort of contraption. So I kind of like the
any
idea
old tech. I love the idea that it's any old tech that you can sort of recreate. And you got a man cave that is literally all this old stuff.
Well, I think so. This is this utopic.
Yeah,
that's the word. I guess
that makes sense.
If dystopia is dystopic, then it's this utopic world, and so everyone has housing and stuff. And it's these massive, skyscrapers or whatever, but you're on the bottom. And it's just randomly assigned.
Yeah.
But there is a bit of a prestige thing, even though it's not based on merit. It's kind of shitty to get the bottom floor. But that's the reason that you're able to dig this stuff. You have... your garden is the actual soil and the ground, whereas everyone else has synthetic. Yeah, they've got their floating gardens out, and so that you're sort of building up your own prestige a bit as you make these things and maybe sell them or start using them or whatever you're doing, building a reputation.
I love the idea that no one really knows what a wheel is anymore. And so
because everything hovers.
So it's the idea of the first thing you build is a bike, because that's so easy to actually do. And it's what, the two wheels? This doesn't seem right.
But I love you've built this bike, but it's got a car steering wheel on it. Its gears are made from an electric can opener that is still like sticking out the side of it.
There is a chain that you've got there, but it's like you've got like the typical sort of like chain that you put on a fence, you know, and with a lock.
Right.
So
it's like a barbed wire. It's like like a bike lock, but it's the chain. Yeah,
that's the chain.
Your bell is like an original iPod. Just like
either that or it's a cowbell that you hit with a
dunk, dunk, dunk. Well, I can just imagine.
Dunk.
I can imagine the right artist having such a blast coming up with these designs for how the different contraptions could look, made of all these different technologies that this person just doesn't understand.
I'm literally seeing, because I'm working with scriptable objects at the moment, you could just build a couple of different recipes and say, it needs to be one of these type and one of these type and one of these type, and you can put lots of different things within that particular location, as long as, you know, that particular location happened to be, you know,
well, essentially
a bell type or...
Yeah, well, that's it. Yes, essentially you would, have these different, as you say, types of objects. So like, okay, something that's got gears, something that makes noise, something that is in the general wheel shape or whatever. And yeah, you can just mix and match them in and out of the different slots of building a bike and then, you know, a car or a computer or a whatever, a radio or, yeah.
Oh,
and then
so
you
cool.
You end up with them just all over your little apartment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's great.
I love that. That's cool. Story, let's do.
Yeah, of course.
We're both perfectly for storylines. Bring in new recipes and things with them.
Okay. What else? Is there a story that goes along with this? Like,
so yeah, I mean, I think it's your character's sort of rise. You know,
effectively, you're selling it on like an Etsy or a.
Well, I think it's more
an
your
eBay
reputation.
Or something like that.
I don't know if you're selling them. I think it's more your reputation of now. You're an amazing scientist now. You're like digging up this stuff that nobody's ever heard of from this ancient civilization. You're basically like an Indiana Jones or something. Or you know, Dr. Alan Grant, if you want to go all the way to the 65 million years of the
Well, that's one of the other things that you dig up is like a DVD box set of
of Jurassic Park and Indiana Jones. Just Spielberg. Let's move on.
Propaganda chemist.
Liked composing. So we could go a couple ways with composing, particularly with chemistry. Because it could be composing like decomposing, building, like doing something with decomposition. Or it could be composing like music, composing a symphony of, maybe you're using like chemicals that
that relate to different notes.
Sounds and stuff. So you know that when you mix the green one with the red one, you get an E flat.
That is kind of interesting. I do like the idea of like you're mixing chemicals, but it's not to make anything substantial other than like the next part of your musical instrument. And
yeah, almost a Rube Goldberg machine that goes through smashing different beakers and things to mix stuff to play a song. So it's almost like Mario Music Maker, where it's like got a thing that's going along the track, but it's all physically simulated. Or it's like one of those, have you seen those renders people do of like the ball bouncing along the xylophone notes that will like play a song?
Oh, yep.
It's just very satisfying of it. It hits all the notes at just the right time, but it feels physical.
Mm-hmm.
It's that, but with, lots more smashing and mixing of chemicals to create explosions, which are then your like big drums and...
For some reason in my mind, I just got the thought of, okay, you've got all these chemicals, so it's a match 3 game where
A match 3 rhythm game. Have we done that?
I don't think we have.
You actually have to, like, match them on the beat.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting. Because then it could trigger off, like, a run of notes or something.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're almost composing these different things. And you could have them layer as well. It's like, oh, you matched 3 green ones, so you get a little, like, melody, but if on the, you know, the beat, the offbeat or something of that, you match, like, 5 red ones, you get a great drum line that goes beneath it.
Yeah.
And really,
I love one that you can actually, you got a power up that you can pretty much, when you click it, you can use it on any 2 colors. You can mix those 2 together to create a new color that may create a new,
get a new riff or something. Or, yeah.
And I know it, or I'm just wondering how you do a key change or something like that.
You get a key change when it's like you know, when you merge 2 of the things that you get when you merge 5. You know how in those match 3 games it like clears the whole screen, you get a key change.
Okay, what if you actually, you don't have to do it all in rhythm, right? I think that may be a little bit too hard to actually make sure that you're doing the right ones.
I think maybe it's more that,
the
like,
order in which you broke them that lines up down the bottom, and then that gives you the song that gets created out of it. And if it's
maybe, although I do like the idea of them overlapping, so maybe it's more though that you match one and it will start on the next beat that's appropriate for it or something. So it might be like the next, if it's a 4/4 beat, it might start on the next one, you know, so that they layer nicely, but you still get that sort of feeling of, oh, as you break them, you're actually immediately contributing to the song. You're essentially like quantizing the results to where it's going to sound good.
Yeah. And it'd be interesting to actually see how it would work, whether you can actually, you know, it kind of then becomes a very, very fast-paced, oh my God, I need to find the next one. Otherwise, you know, the music is literally all rests until...
So well, it might be that whatever you played... Maybe it might be that whatever you played last is kind of a... Well, because I'm not thinking that each of them are specific, they're just single notes, right? I'm thinking that you break one, like you break a set of 3 and it gives you like a 1-bar melody.
Yeah, but I'm wondering what happens when you inevitably break one and then the next one comes down and that breaks another set of 3, and then the next one comes down and breaks the next set of 3.
They do essentially, they either line up or they add up in a sense. So like, it might be that you can have like 1 melody, 1 drums, 1, you know, bass going at the same time. And so if you break multiples of those in a bar, then they will stack and all start at the next time. But then, yeah, maybe if you've done 2 sets of melodies in a row, they stack horizontal, like they stack along the timeline, like they add to the end of the time or something like that.
I don't know. It's interesting. Bit different.
Yeah, it'd be fun to play with. But
would be.
Probably very difficult to actually make fun.
Yes.
3, 2, 1, click.
Speaking of unwise autobiography.
Linked misuse.
Ooh.
Is this Link's autobiography?
Or is this the autobiography of the person who created LinkedIn?
Oh. I'm not sure that's more interesting. Or is it the biography of Linkin Park? That could get a bit sad.
I kind of like the idea of, what if you're a character who happens to be looking through a library.
Okay.
And you find your own autobiography.
Ooh, okay.
Because obviously autobiographies that you haven't done it yourself, I believe. That's done by someone else. So,
well, no, an autobiography is when you have written it yourself.
Okay.
But I like the idea of finding an autobiography you haven't written yet.
You haven't written yet,
from the future,
from
basically.
the future, maybe.
Yeah.
And yeah, just the different, you know, it's unwise to read through into the future because, you know, nothing's actually set in stone and you could actually create paradoxes
so
and that sort of stuff.
I could see this being an interesting narrative thing. I think it'd definitely have to be just narrative based.
Yeah.
I like the
it's
idea
rife with misuse.
I like the idea of the autobiography starting with like, my life changed when I found that autobiography in the library. Like, it literally starts at that moment.
My life changed when I found this book. It literally starts with when I found this book that you are now reading. My life changed, and this is the story of what happened. And
it's like, if you are me, don't read further. And then like, just playing around with the implications of that with relationships and career and money and life with this person.
And this is where storylets could actually come in and...
Oh, God, maybe, yeah.
Because they change things that are happening later on in the book.
Right. So it's almost... Okay, because so then it becomes almost like a choose-your-own-adventure book in a way.
Yeah, exactly.
Where... I mean, like, and storylets can definitely help to map out those sorts of branching narratives.
Yeah.
I guess you'd have to decide is it endlessly branching? I can't remember the term. There's some really good terms for the different graphs of narrative graphs. And one of them is like branch off, which obviously then becomes very difficult to actually get a lot of depth in because... as we've seen from Choose Your Own Adventure books, often a branch will just be, shit happens and you die. Go back.
Yep. Well, the way that we always used to play it, you stick your finger in the page that you just were, and you go to, oh no, I died, and I didn't make that choice.
Or it might lead to another one, and you get at least 3 or 4 fingers in there on different pages that you're making your way back through if you're doing okay before you commit to one path.
The worst one is when you've forgotten, like you finally chose the path and then you go one extra and it's like, oh god, both these die. Oh shit, I don't want to start from the start again. I don't remember how I got to here. How far back?
And then you just start reading chronologically, chronological, like page by page.
I'm pretty sure I was at 253, and you look at 253. Yeah,
it's like
I
not
haven't
familiar.
read that one ever before.
Yeah, exactly. But the other choice is to have like branches that then rejoin at key points and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that would just come out in the writing of it. But I like the idea of exploring. I mean, what sorts of thing is it? It's probably about decisions of do I or do I not look this event up in the book to see what's going to happen.
Mm. Well, I like the idea that you take it home with you, and it's you go through your normal day and you can choose to read up on the day, and it sort of repeats what actually happened for the day because it's sort of talking about things that happened around this date and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I think
for the first couple of days, you don't go further forward, but then on like the third day, you read, and it makes mention of, and this would have great aspects, or this would completely change what happened next with such and such, and it's a character that you've just met, and you can actually allow it to go a little bit deeper, maybe have it as, it's kind of hard-coded at the very start of what's sort of going to happen, and then it just opens up.
The other thing I just thought of is if you could give an option of saying, all right, you're going to read the book, what page do you want to skip forward to? And you give them like 3 options. And they're all like, regardless of which ones they choose, or like, I mean, they're not necessarily all consistent with each other, but each of them have these like completely insane things going on. It's like, you jump to page 563. So after I killed my 3rd Tyrannosaurus Rex, I was known in the community as someone to go to, and it's like, what the fuck? Like, how are we going to get from where we are now to there? But having done that, it actually locks in a narrative path.
Yeah.
And like one of the other ones might be something completely different. It's like, yeah, well, after I made my $5 billion, doing
doing
porn.
charity runs.
Doing naked charity runs. Or what? Yeah.
And it's like, how does my character get there?
Yeah. Like, I love that idea of it just being so completely different from where you are now. And then you've, as the writers of it, we've actually written some path there that actually does get you there.
Yeah.
That's kind of fun.
That's kind
I
of
wouldn't want to have that
wacky.
challenge, and you'd basically be writing like 3 different full narratives, but or they're just all the same until near the end, and you make this at some turning point, but that's less fun.
And then that's almost kind of like a if you remember the Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis, how you could choose the different ways. You could either go the wisdom path or the action path. And it sort of changed the middle section of the game on how you got from here to here.
Yeah.
That could actually be kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah, lots of branching options all around that idea of you have your own autobiography. That's fine.
Cool. 3, 2, 1, clickety click.
Continuing slang.
Cheek signature. I think you wake up one day and you got like a signature tattooed on your cheek.
Oh, I wasn't thinking that cheek.
You were thinking ass cheek.
Yeah. You know how people will get rock stars to sign their various bits?
Okay. So it's a hangover-like game in which you wake up.
I
And
was
then
going to go with Dude, Where's My Car? But yeah.
You go to sit down and you go, ow! And then you look and you got
You
this...
look in the mirror.
And you got this, like, this famous guy's signature. In fact,
Yeah.
it's Elvis Presley's signature.
Wait, are we in the, like...
You're in the future,
we're
you're in the current day,
present?
and you take a photo of it, and it is actually Elvis Presley's signature. And the rest of the game is...
This almost sounds like one of the branches from the previous game.
Yeah.
So once I got Elvis' signature lasered off my butt...
Elvis's actual signature, and therefore is like, hey, hang on. Like...
I mean, how do you know it's not a really good forgery? I mean, I guess maybe that's the game. The whole game is you trying to track down how you got this thing on your ass.
And you literally go through things like in The Hangover where you...
Yeah. So we're thinking like point and click...
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Yeah, it could be a good like comedy point and click. It takes place in an office.
You put it in the furthest away from Elvis Presley that you can get.
Yeah, absolutely. Like there's no, like, I mean, including, the mortal plane. The barrier between here and the afterlife.
Well, unless it's like Bubba Hotep and you go to a nursing home and you just happen to find...
Right. Right, of course. I guess there is the whole he faked his death thing.
Yeah.
How old would he be now?
Oh, pretty damn old.
When was Elvis
born?
35. So he'd be 88.
Yeah, that's certainly doable.
Yeah.
There's something about like just having you go back through like what happened last night, and you've got information from like where it started, and then
I think there's definitely a market there for a Hangover-esque point-and-click adventure game. I don't know if it's been done. Actually, I think it has been done because I feel like there's like a medieval one about drunk. Anyway, I don't know, but I think that doesn't mean it can't be done again and differently.
Yeah, and that one didn't include Elvis, I don't think.
Probably
or
not.
tattoos on butt cheeks.
I mean, it's hard to say.
Dude, why is my ass hurt? That's the name of the game.
Why does the flesh of my gluteus maximus ache from tattoo pain? But what actually happened? We need to come up with how you did get Elvis. Do you think it is literally you came across an 88-year-old Elvis in some way, or is it time travel, or ghost, or
which one do you
clone?
think? Which one do you think is the most plausible?
Most plausible?
Yeah, because it's not that one.
I mean, the most plausible is probably that he's still alive, because I don't think ghosts or time travel are more likely.
Okay, so I'm going to go with one that you haven't said yet.
Time-traveling ghost.
And that is that Elvis is actually an alien being, and he happened to revisit last night.
Right.
And you caught him, and he goes, okay, I suppose you want a signature then? Yeah.
No,
all I've got is a tattoo gun. Like
the abduction beam. The abduction beam actually just leaves that mark on the skin when it picks you up. But then to cover it up, past abductions, he made it his signature. It only vaguely looks like the name Elvis Presley, but because of that vague resemblance, that's even why he named himself Elvis Presley when he came out into the public eye to be famous for a while.
And he literally says, "Have you seen the show The Good Place? You know how it's like Jeremy Bearimy is only called that because it kind of looks like that. Yeah, it's that.
Yeah, just very meta referencing.
And
existing
yes,
properties.
The eye is like Tuesdays and June. The dot in the eye.
Yeah. And then it just plays that whole episode of The Good Place to make sure you've got the context for the joke.
3, 2, 1, click.
Yeah. Last one, I think. Okay. Timed sole, but it's SOLE. So we guess like the fish or the sole of a shoe?
Sole of a shoe, which kind of works well with my susceptible museum. It's a museum heist game.
Yeah, a shoe museum.
Well, I was thinking that you're just a cat burglar, and you got to sneak, and that's why you got to choose the right sole for the type of
right. You've got
type of ground, and
you've got your stupid you can upgrade your gear and get like a +2 to silence on your soles of your shoes.
Yeah.
All that crafting stuff that just everybody hates now because it's in every game.
It's all the way down to the point of, what works really well for grip? Cork. If you put cork on your sole.
Cork works really well for grip, but not for noise because it squeaks as it runs across the floors. It's good for carpets. Okay, I think you are also stealing shoes though. Or at least one of the things you're stealing is precious jeweled shoes. And then you can choose to use them in your subsequent heists. They're not very good. They're very loud, but they look great and they're very distracting.
For some reason, the first shoe that came to mind was Agent 86's shoe phone from
the shoe
from Get Smart.
Yeah, it's shoes throughout pop culture.
So ruby slippers and
ruby slippers, the Back to the Future Nikes,
auto lace up things, which they actually made.
Yeah, it's just the ones they they don't actually do the cool lace up properly and stuff.
No, it's just the new ones that they made in the last couple of years. Which I don't know what other famous. There's some kinky boots in there. I'm just trying to think of other pop culture shoes. I like the idea that
Fred Astaire's tap shoes.
Yeah, but when you get the ruby slippers from The Wizard of Oz,
yeah,
you realize that they just spray painted Originally, they were the silver slippers, which are actually in the book of The Wizard of Oz, and they just spray painted them red because it looks better. But it turns out that no, they were originally still the silver slippers. They just
this is all in. There's
ruby.
Extensive lore and background on each thing you steal, and then you can watch all of Wizard of Oz for context. So you may include all the movies. but they're from. He hid an Easter egg, and we hope no one's going to sue us.
It's just
MP4s, heavily compressed MP4s.
No, they're real media.
It's just real media. There's just no, because nobody's looking for those anymore. Nobody's going to detect them in there.
Yeah, and
Good old
each
RM
one is like
files, whatever.
76 meg, so you know they're shit quality.
Oh yeah. You can barely. The only thing you can tell is when it goes from black and white to color. Because the giant
it's like
pixels
7
change.
pixels.
Yeah. Oh, I saw a yellow pixel. That must be the yellow brick road.
Oh god, that's
All right.
just,
Well,
that's
I
freaking
think-
hilarious.
I think that's the end of the episode. If you would like to find the rest of our episodes online, go to podchaser.com/bitstorm. Check them all out. Shoot us a review. Tell us what you thought. If there are any, let us know what famous shoes we should have included in that game that we didn't think about.
Yeah. If you like the song that we play at the start and end of each episode, that song is called Mount Defiance off of the album Containment Failure by the band Kuradust. You can find it at kuradust.bandcamp.com for free.
That's right. So thank you again for joining us this week on Bitstorm. I'm Ben Slinger.
I'm Trevor Scott.
And I'm stealing Iron Man's repulsor boots. Bye!